The alarm bells rang across Kepler Station like angry metal birds. Commander Ji-won Kim ran down the long metal hallway, her boots hitting the floor hard with each step. The lights above her head flashed red, then white, then red again. Something was very wrong. Commander Kim to the bridge. Commander Kim to the bridge, now. The voice came from speakers in the walls. It sounded scared. Ji-won pushed through the crowd of people running in different directions. Most of them were tall, thin aliens with blue skin and 4 arms. The Veltar people, they looked afraid. Their big black eyes were wide with fear. She reached the bridge in 3 minutes. The room was full of computers and screens showing space outside the station. Ambassador Veltar stood in the center, his 4 arms moving fast over different control panels. He was the boss of this station. What is happening? Ji-won asked. Veltar turned to look at her. His face was pale blue, almost white. Ships, he said. Many ships coming from the dark space beyond our system. Ji-won looked at the main screen. At first, she saw nothing but stars. Then she saw them. Dark shapes moving against the starfield. Big ships. Really big ships. And there were many of them. How many? She asked. We count 42 large ships. More smaller ones. They are ... Veltar stopped talking. He touched a button and a new picture came on the screen. The ships were ugly. They looked like they were made from old metal and sharp edges. Black smoke came from their engines. These were not pretty ships like the ones the Veltori made. These were ships built for fighting. Craven, said Dr. Huna Park. She had just walked onto the bridge. Huna was another human on the station. She studied alien animals and plants. Those are Craven ships. Everyone on the bridge became very quiet. Even Ji-won felt her heart beat faster. Everyone in the galaxy knew about the Craven. They were the bad guys. They traveled from system to system, taking everything they wanted. They made slaves of people they did not kill. They are sending a message, said Kiranel, the Veltari scientist. Her voice was shaking. The main screen changed. Now it showed the face of a Craven. The creature was huge, with gray skin like rock. Its eyes were red. Sharp teeth filled its mouth. Scars covered its face and head. I am Tukmar, war leader of the Craven Horde, the creature said. Its voice was deep and rough. We have come to take this station. You will surrender now, or we will take it by force. You have 1 day to decide. The screen went black. Nobody spoke for a long moment. Then Veltar said, send a message to the coalition. Tell them we need help. Tell them the Craven are here. Already done, said Kiranel, but the nearest coalition fleet is 4 months away. Maybe 5. Our shields? Asked Ji-won. Strong, said Veltar, but not meant for long fighting. We are a research station, not a warship. Ji-won knew this was true. Kepler Station was huge. It was home to 50,000 people. It had big machines for mining rocks from space. It had labs where smart people studied new things, but it was not built for war. The Veltari were smart. Very smart. They had technology that could do amazing things, but they had not fought a war in over 1,000 years. They had forgotten how to fight. What weapons do we have? Ji-won asked. Mining lasers, said Engineer Do-yeon Lee. He was the 3rd human on the bridge. Some small defense guns. Nothing that can hurt ships that big. Outside, the Craven ships moved closer. They made a circle around the station, like hunters around their prey. We need to call Earth, said Gi-won. Veltar looked at her with his big black eyes. Earth, your home world. Yes, my people can help. Commander Kim. Veltar said slowly. Your people are ... new to space. Your ships are small. Your technology is ... simple. What can they do that we cannot? Ji-won felt angry, but she kept her voice calm. They can fight. We can fight too, said Veltar. We have better weapons than your people. Better shields. Better ships. When did you last fight a war? Asked Ji-won. Veltar was quiet for a moment. 1,200 years ago. We finished one last week, said Ji-won. It was not true, but it was almost true. Humans were always fighting someone, somewhere. Before Veltar could answer, the station shook. The lights went out for a second, then came back on. Everyone grabbed something to hold on to. They are testing our shields, said Kiranel. Small shots. They want to see how strong we are. The station shook again, harder this time. Shields at 95%, said Do-yeon. They are using big guns. Just testing shots, said Veltar. They will not attack fully until tomorrow. But he was wrong. The Craven ships moved closer. Their guns began to glow with red light. All guns firing, shouted Kiranel. The space outside the station filled with red beams of light. They hit the invisible shield around the station. The shield glowed bright blue where the beams touched it. The station shook like a tree in a storm. People fell down. Papers flew through the air. The lights went out and came back on over and over. Shields at 80%, said Do-yeon. They are not playing games. Return fire, said Veltar. The station's guns shot back. Blue beams of light reached out toward the Craven ships. They hit the dark ships but did not seem to hurt them much. Our weapons are not strong enough, said Kiranel. They are built for cutting rocks, not fighting ships. The Craven ships kept shooting. More red beams hit the station's shield. The shield began to flicker. 70%, said Doyan. If they keep this up, we have maybe 2 days before the shield fails. Send the message to Earth, said Jiwan. Please. Veltar looked at her for a long moment. Around them, the station shook as more enemy fire hit the shield. Finally, he nodded. Send the message, he said, but do not hope for much. Even if your people come, they will arrive too late. Jiwan walked to the communication station. She typed a message with shaking fingers. This is Commander Jiwan Kim on Kepler Station. We are under attack by Craven forces. 50,000 civilians in danger. Coalition forces months away. Request immediate assistance. We will hold as long as we can. She sent the message toward Earth. It would take 2 weeks to get there through the quantum communication network. Even if Earth sent help right away, it would take weeks for ships to arrive. Outside, the Craven ships continued their attack. The station's shield grew weaker with each hit. Inside, 50,000 people waited and hoped. But hope was running out fast. The war for Kepler Station had begun. 3 weeks had passed since the Craven came to Kepler Station. 3 weeks of constant fear. 3 weeks of watching the shields get weaker every day. Dr. Sunabe walked through the emergency shelter in Section 7. Families sat on the floor. With their children, the Veltari children were small, with big eyes like their parents. They looked scared and confused. Why are the bad ships still here? Asked one little Veltari girl. Her name was Kira. The good people are fighting them, said Suna. They are keeping us safe. But Suna knew the truth. The station was losing. Every day, the Craven ships hit the shield with their big guns. Every day, the shield got weaker. Soon, it would break. Was a doctor who helped people with their feelings and thoughts? Before the attack, she helped people who were sad or worried about normal things. Now, everyone was scared of dying. She left the shelter and walked to the bridge. The hallways were darker now. The station was saving power for the shield and the weapons. People walked quietly, like they were in a library, but their eyes showed their fear. On the bridge, the screens showed the same thing they had shown for 3 weeks. Craven ships in a circle around the station. Sometimes they moved closer to shoot. Sometimes they moved away, but they never left. Shields. At 30%, said Engineer Dojan Lee. He looked very tired. He had not slept well in weeks. None of them had. How long? Asked Ambassador Veltar. Maybe 4 days, said Dojan. Maybe less if they used their big guns more. Commander Jiwan Kim stood at the main control station. She had been trying to make the station's weapons better. But the mining lasers were not built for fighting. They could cut through rocks very well. But rocks did not have thick armor like Craven ships. Any word from the coalition? Asked Jiwan. Nothing new, said Kiranel. They are still 3 months away. Maybe more. Dr. Hunapark came onto the bridge. She had been working in the medical center. Many people were getting hurt. When the station shook from enemy fire, pieces of metal fell from the ceiling. People fell downstairs. The artificial gravity sometimes stopped working for a few seconds. We have 200 people hurt, said Huna. Nothing too bad yet. But if the shield fails and they board us, ... She did not finish the sentence. Everyone knew what would happen. The Craven were not kind to people they captured. They made them work as slaves. They hurt them for fun. They killed anyone who was too weak to work. We need to contact Earth again, said Jiwan. My people can help. Commander Kim, said Veltar. We have talked about this. Your people are, how do I say this kindly? Your people are new to space. Travel. Your ships are small. Your weapons are simple. What can they do that we cannot do? Jiwan felt angry again. She had felt angry many times in the past 3 weeks. My people know how to fight. We know how to fight too, said Captain Minho. Choi, he was the station's security chief. He was Veltari, but he had chosen a human name because he liked human culture. We have better weapons than humans. Better shields, better everything. When did you last fight? Asked Jiwan. We train every day, said Minho. Training is not real. Fighting, said Jiwan. How many wars have your people fought? We do not fight wars, said Veltar. We are civilized people. We talk to solve problems. We do not kill each other. That is good, said Guan. But the Craven do not want to talk. They want to take everything you have. They want to make you slaves or kill you. The station shook again. More red beams hit the shield. The lights went out for 3 seconds this time. Shields at 28%, said Dojan. Everyone was quiet. They all knew what that meant. The shield was dying. I will send the message to Earth, said Jiwan. We need help. Any help. The council must vote, said Veltar. We cannot make big decisions without the council. Jiwan wanted to scream. The Veltari council had 12 members. They liked to talk about every decision for a long time. They wanted to make sure everyone agreed before they did anything. This was good for normal times, but these were not normal times. How long will the council take? Asked Jiwan. 2 days, said Veltar. Maybe 3. It is an important decision. We might not have 3 days, said Dojin, but the council was the law on Kepler Station. They had to wait. While they waited, the Craven kept shooting. The shield got weaker every hour. People started to panic. Some tried to get on the small ships that brought supplies to the station, but there were not enough ships for everyone, and the Craven would probably shoot any ship that tried to leave. On the second day, the Craven commander sent another message. Tokmar appeared on the screen. Again, he looked even uglier than before. His red eyes seemed to glow with anger. "You have fought well," he said, "but you are weak. Your shield is almost gone. Surrender now, and we will let half of you live as slaves. Fight more, and we will kill everyone." The screen went black. "He is lying," said Huna. "The Craven always kill most of their prisoners. They only keep the strongest ones." "How do you know?" asked Veltar. "Because I studied them," said Huna. "They have attacked 47 colonies and stations. They always do the same thing. They take the strong people as slaves and kill the rest." Everyone on the bridge felt sick. 50,000 people lived. On this station, if the Craven were telling the truth, they would kill half of them. But Huna was right. They would probably kill even more. Finally, the council finished voting. They said yes to sending a message to Earth, but they were not happy about it. "Do not expect much," said Veltar. "Your people are far away. They have small ships. They cannot fight the Craven." Giwan typed a new message. "This is Commander Kim on Kepler Station. We are still under attack. Our shields are failing. We have maybe 2 days left. Please send help. We have 50,000 people here. Men, women, children. Please do not let us die." She sent the message toward Earth. It would take 2 weeks to get there. Even if Earth sent help immediately, it would take more weeks for ships to arrive. But maybe, just maybe, her people would come. The station shook again. Harder this time. The Craven were using their biggest guns now. They were getting ready for the final attack. "Shields at 15%, said Dojan. Outside, the Craven ships moved closer. They were like big metal sharks swimming around wounded. "Pray, they will attack soon," said Minho. "When the shield fails, they will send boarding ships. Small fast ships full of Craven soldiers." "How many soldiers can we fight?" asked Jiwan. "We have 300 security people," said Minho, "but they are not real soldiers. They are guards. They keep order. They stop fights. They have never fought in a war." "What about weapons?" "Small guns. Nothing that can hurt Craven soldiers. Much the Craven are big and strong. They have natural armor. They are born fighters." Jiwan looked around the bridge. Everyone looked scared. Even Veltar, who was usually calm, looked worried. "We need to prepare," said Guwan. "Get all the humans. Together, we will help fight." "There are only 200 humans on this station," said Veltar. "What can 200 people do?" "We can try," said Jiwan. "We can fight until help comes." "Help is not coming," said Veltar. "The coalition is too far away. Your people are too weak. We are alone." But Jiwan did not believe that. Somewhere in space, her message was traveling toward Earth. Her people would get it. And when they did, they would come. She was sure of it. The station shook again. The lights flickered. In the distance, she could hear people crying and praying. But she held on to hope. Her people would come. They had to. The message from Kepler Station reached Earth on a Tuesday morning. It traveled through the quantum communication network that connected all the worlds in the galaxy. The message was short but clear. 50,000 people were going to die if no one helped them. Admiral Yeho Nam was drinking coffee in his office when the message arrived. He was the boss of Earth's first response fleet. His job was to help humans in trouble anywhere in the galaxy. But this was different. This was not just about humans. This was about 50,000 people from different worlds. And they were asking, "Earth for help." Jeho read the message 3 times. Then he walked to his window. Outside, he could see the moon. Big spaceships moved around it like metal insects. These were Earth's warships. They were not pretty like the ship's other species. They were built for fighting. "Get me the president," Yeho said to his assistant. 5 minutes later, he was talking to the president of Earth. The president was a woman named Park Sujin. She had been a soldier before she became a politician. She understood war. "How many ships do we have ready?" she asked. 30 ships, said Yeho. "We can launch in 6 hours." "Do it," said the president. "Those people need help." "The Veltari think we are too weak to help," said Yeho. "They think our ships are primitive." "Let them think that," said the president. "Sometimes it is good when people think you are weak. It makes them surprised when you are strong." 6 hours later, the human fleet was ready. 30 ships waited. In space near the moon, they were not like the beautiful, curved ships that other species made. Human ships were ugly. They had sharp edges and thick armor. They looked like flying metal boxes covered in guns. The biggest ship was called the Inshin's Hammer. It was a dreadnought, a ship built for war. Captain Unisong commanded a destroyer called the Soul's Fury. Major Sujino was on board with 500 Marines. Lieutenant Junho Kong led 20 fighter pilots. "All ships ready," said Captain Unisong over the radio. "Remember," said Admiral Yeho Nam from his flagship, "we are not just fighting for humans. We are fighting for all the good people in the galaxy. The Craven think they can take whatever they want. Today, we show them they are wrong." the fleet jumped into hyperspace. The journey to Kepler Station would normally take 2 weeks, but Admiral Nam pushed the engines harder than they were supposed to go. Human ships were built tough. They could take punishment that would destroy other ships. How long? Asked Captain Yuna-song. 10 days, said the Admiral. Maybe 9, if we keep the engines at maximum power. That will damage the engines, said Chief Engineer Kyung-hwa. We can fix engines, said the Admiral. We cannot fix dead people. The human fleet raced through hyperspace. The engines ran so hot they glowed red. Other species would never risk their ships like this. But humans were different. They took risks to save lives. Back on Kepler Station, things were getting worse. The shields were down to 5%. The Craven ships had moved very close. Everyone could see them through the windows now. Big, dark, ugly ships with red lights. They are preparing boarding pods, said Captain Minho Choi. He was looking at the scanner screens. Small ships full of Craven soldiers. Commander Ji-won Kim was organizing the humans on the station. There were only 200 of them, but they were ready to fight. They had found tools and turned them into weapons. They knew how to fight dirty. The Craven are 7 feet tall, Ji-won told the other humans. They have thick skin like armor. They are strong, but they are also proud. They think they are better than everyone else. We can use that. Dr. Tsunabe was helping people stay calm, but it was hard. Everyone knew the shield would fail soon. Everyone knew the Craven would come aboard the station. Is there any word from Earth? Asked Dr. Huna Park. Nothing yet, said Ji-won, but they will come. I know they will. Ambassador Veltar heard this and shook his head. Commander Kim, I understand you want to believe your people will help, but even if they come, they will be too late, and their ships are too small to fight the Craven. You do not know humans, said Ji-won. I know enough, said Veltar. Your people are brave. But brave is not enough against 40 Craven ships. The station shook again. This time, the lights went out for 10 seconds. When they came back on, alarms were ringing. Shields at 2%, said Engineer Dojan Lee. One more big hit and they will fail. Everyone on the bridge was quiet. They all knew what was coming. Then something amazing happened. The communication system made a sound. A new message was coming in. This is Admiral Yeho Nam of the Terran Defense Force, said a voice. We received your message. We are coming to help. Hold on, we will be there soon. Everyone on the bridge stared at each other. Even Veltar looked surprised. How long until they arrive? Asked G1. The message is 8 days old, said Kiranel. They could be here in 2 days, maybe less, if the shields last that long, said Diane. But the Craven were not waiting. Their biggest ships moved closer. Their guns began to glow brighter. They were preparing for the final attack. All boarding pods are ready, said Minho. The Craven have 500 soldiers ready. To board us, we have 500 people ready to fight, said Guan. Humans, Veltari, everyone. 500 people with small guns, said Veltar, against 500 Craven warriors. Numbers are not everything, said Guan. Sometimes, the side that wants to win more will win. The Craven commander appeared on the screen again. He looked angry and impatient. Your time is up, he said. Your shields are almost gone. Surrender now, or we will kill everyone on your station. We will not surrender, said Veltar. Everyone on the bridge was surprised. The ambassador had finally found his courage. Tokmar laughed. It was an ugly sound. Then you will all die. We have conquered 47 worlds. You will be numbered 48. The screen went black. All ships, fire, said Tokmar's voice over the radio. Every Craven ship fired at once. Hundreds of red beams hit the station's shield. The shield flickered like a dying light bulb. Then it went out. Shields down, said Doyon. The station was naked now. No protection from the Craven guns. But the Craven stopped shooting. They wanted to capture the station, not destroy it. Boarding pods, launching, said Minho. On the screens, they could see small ships leaving the Craven fleet. Fast, ugly ships full of soldiers. They were coming to take the station. All fighters to defensive positions, said Jiwon over the station radio. This is it. Fight for your families. Fight for your lives. In the distance, moving through hyperspace, the human fleet was still 2 days away. Admiral Nam pushed the engines even harder. Sparks flew from control panels. The metal walls of the ships groaned under the stress. Come on, said Captain Yunasong. Hold together. People are counting on us. But they were still too far away. The people on Kepler Station would have to fight alone. For now, the first boarding pod hit the station with a loud crash. Metal doors exploded open. Craven soldiers poured through, roaring like wild animals. The battle for Kepler Station had begun. The Craven soldiers smashed through the station like angry monsters. They were huge, 7 feet tall, with gray skin like rock. Their red eyes glowed in the dark hallways. They carried big guns and sharp swords. They roared as they ran, showing their pointed teeth. Commander Ji-won Kim crouched behind a metal box in hallway 7. She had a small gun in her hands. Next to her, Dr. Tsunabe held a medical tool that could cut through metal. It was not much, but it was something. "Here they come," whispered Jiwon. 3 Craven soldiers ran around the corner. They were so big they had to duck under the lights. Their heavy boots made the floor shake. They saw the 2 human women and laughed. "Tiny humans," one of them said in broken English. "You think you can fight us?" Jiwon shot her gun. The small bullet hit the Craven in the chest. It made a small hole in his thick skin, but he did not fall down. He just got angry. "Now you die," he said, but then something happened that surprised everyone. More humans came from behind the Craven. They jumped on the big aliens' backs. They used knives and tools to attack weak spots. The Craven were strong, but they were not ready for this kind of fighting. "Dirty fighting," said one Craven, as a human hit him with a metal pipe. "Smart fighting," said Engineer Dojan Lee, as he helped bring down the alien. All over the station, the same thing was happening. The Craven expected to fight soldiers who stood in lines and shot guns. But the humans fought like wild animals. They hid in dark corners. They attacked from behind. They used everything as weapons. The Veltari security guards tried to help, but they were not good at fighting. They were used to stopping arguments and keeping order. They had never fought for their lives. "Stay behind us," Jiwon told Captain Minho Choi. "Protect the civilians. Let us handle the fighting." But the Craven kept coming. More boarding pods hit the station. More soldiers poured in. Soon, there were hundreds of them inside the station. On the bridge, Ambassador Veltar watched the security cameras. He saw his people running and hiding. He saw the brave humans fighting impossible battles. He felt ashamed that his people could not defend themselves. "We need to do something," he said to Dr. Huna Park. "We are doing something," said Huna. "We are staying alive until help comes." "The humans will not arrive in time," said Veltar. "There are too many Craven. They are too strong." But Huna was not listening. She was looking at one of the screens. Something was happening in deep space. "Wait," she said. "Look at this." She pointed to a screen that showed the space around the station. At first, Veltar saw nothing. Then he saw tiny dots of light appearing from nowhere. "Ships," he said. "But those are not coalition ships." The dots got bigger. They were ships. But they looked different from any ships the Veltari had seen. They were ugly and square, with thick armor and many guns. They looked like they were built for war. "Human ships," said Huna with a smile. There were 30 of them. They came out of hyperspace in a straight line, like soldiers marching to battle. They were not big like the Craven ships, but they moved with purpose. War Chief Gractor was on the bridge of his flagship when his soldiers told him about the new ships. He looked at the screen and laughed. "Humans," he said. "I have heard of them. Weak little creatures from a small world. How many ships do they have?" 30, War Chief, said his aide. "We have 42, said Gractor, "and our ships are bigger. This will be easy." But Gractor was wrong. The human ships did not fight like other species. They did not stay far away and shoot careful shots. They charged straight at the Craven fleet like angry bulls. Admiral Yeho Nam stood on the bridge of his flagship. Around him, his crew worked fast and hard. They had pushed their engines to the breaking point to get here. Now they would push their guns the same way. "All ships, attack formation," he said into his radio. "Target the ships around the station first. Save the civilians." The human fleet split into 3 groups. Each group attacked the Craven ships from a different direction. The Craven had to turn their ships to fight on 3 sides at once. Captain Yuna Song led her destroyer, the Soul's Fury, straight at a Craven cruiser. The enemy ship was 3 times bigger than hers, but she did not care. "All guns, fire," she said. The Soul's Fury shot everything it had. Nuclear missiles, plasma cannons, rail guns that fired metal bullets at incredible speed. The Craven ship's shields flashed and sparked. "Their shields are down," said her weapons officer. "Ram them," said Captain Song. "Captain," said her helmsman, "you heard me. Ram them." The Soul's Fury hit the Craven cruiser at full speed. The human ship's thick armor cut through the alien ship's side like a knife through paper. Both ships were damaged, but the Craven ship was dying. "Damage report," said Captain Song. "Hull breach in sections 3 and 4, said her engineer. "We can keep fighting." All around them, the same thing was happening. Human ships fought like they had nothing to lose. They took terrible damage but kept shooting. When their big guns stopped working, they used their small guns. When their engines died, they used their momentum to crash into enemy ships. The Craven had never seen anything like it. They were used to fighting civilized species who fought with honor and followed rules. The humans had no rules. They just wanted to win. Lieutenant Junho Kong led 20 fighters in an attack on a Craven dreadnought. The enemy ship was huge, covered in armor and guns, but it was slow. "Hit and run," he told his pilots. "Fast attacks. Don't give them time to aim." The fighters swooped around the big ship like angry bees. They were too small and fast for the Craven guns to hit, but their missiles were big enough to hurt the enemy. On Kepler Station, the fighting was getting worse. The Craven had taken control of 3 sections, but the humans were making them pay for every step. Major Sujin Oh had come to the station. With her Marines, they arrived in small, fast ships that could land inside the station. Now they were fighting the Craven soldiers in the hallways. "Grenades out," she shouted. The Marines threw small bombs into a room full of Craven soldiers. The explosions were loud and bright. When the smoke cleared, the Marines charged in with their guns. The Craven were tough, but the Marines were trained fighters. They knew how to work together. They knew how to use their small size to their advantage. "These humans fight like demons," said one Craven soldier to another. "They are not afraid to die," said the second soldier. "Everyone is afraid to die," said the first soldier, "but they do it anyway." In space, the battle was turning. The human fleet was smaller than the Craven fleet, but they were winning. Ship after ship, the Craven were being destroyed or damaged. War Chief Gractor watched his fleet falling apart. He had fought 100 battles and won them all. But this was different. These humans would not give up. They would not retreat. They just kept fighting. "Pull back," he said to his fleet. "Reform and attack again." But his captains were scared. They had never seen their ships destroyed so easily. They had never faced an enemy that fought so hard. "War Chief," said his aide, "perhaps we should retreat. Find easier prey." Gractor hit his aide with his big fist. The smaller Craven flew across the room. "We do not retreat," he roared. "We are Craven. We take what we want." But even as he said it, he watched another of his ships explode. The humans were like a disease that was killing his fleet. On the bridge of Kepler Station, everyone watched the battle in amazement. The primitive human ships were destroying the mighty Craven fleet. "How are they doing this?" asked Veltar. "They are not trying to be smart," said Dr. Huna Park. "They are just trying to win." The tide of battle was turning. The humans had arrived just in time. The battle had been going on for 18 hours. 18 hours of ships shooting at each other. 18 hours of explosions and fire. 18 hours of people dying. But the humans would not give up. Captain Unisong sat in her command chair on the Soul's Fury. Her ship was badly damaged. There were holes in the hull. The engines were making strange noises. Half of her crew was hurt, but her guns still worked. "Enemy cruiser coming around," said her weapons officer. His name was Corporal Wook Jin. He had a bandage around his head, but he kept working. "Fire everything we have," said Captain Song. The Soul's Fury shot all its remaining missiles at the Craven cruiser. The enemy ship's shields flashed and died. The missiles hit the hull and exploded. The cruiser began to spin out of control. "Good shot," said Captain Song. "Target the next one." All around them, the space battle continued. The human fleet was winning, but they were paying a heavy price. The Ancient's hammer was drifting in space, its engines dead. The destroyer, Daegu's Vengeance, had been cut in half by enemy fire. Many good people had died. But for every human ship that was destroyed, 2 Craven ships were destroyed. The aliens had started with 42 ships. Now they had only 15 ships left that could still fight. War Chief Gractor stood on the bridge of his flagship. Around him, his officers looked scared. They had never seen their fleet lose a battle. They had never seen their ships destroyed so easily. "War Chief," said his aide, "we should retreat. We are losing too many ships." Gractor grabbed the smaller alien by the throat. "We do not retreat. We are Craven. We take what we want." But even as he said it, he watched another of his ships explode. The humans were like a disease that was killing his fleet. They fought like crazy animals. They did not care about their own lives, they only cared about winning. War Chief said his communications officer, "The humans are sending a message." "Put it on screen," said Gractor. The main screen showed Admiral Yeho Nam. The human looked tired, but his eyes were hard as stone. "Craven fleet," said the Admiral. "You came here to hurt innocent people. You came here to make slaves of families. You came here to take what was not yours." Gractor laughed. "And what will you do about it, little human?" "We will stop you," said Admiral Nam. "We will destroy every ship you have. We will make sure you never hurt anyone again." "You cannot destroy us all," said Gractor. "We are too strong." "Watch us," said Admiral Nam. The screen went black. On Kepler Station, the fighting was almost over. Major Sujino and her Marines had pushed the Craven soldiers back to their boarding pods. The aliens were trying to escape back to their ships. "Let them go," said Commander Ji-won Kim. "We have one here," but Major O shook her head. "No, if we let them go, they will attack someone else. They will hurt other innocent people." She spoke into her radio. "All Marines, no survivors. These monsters will never hurt anyone again." The Marines fought harder. They pushed the Craven back step by step, room by room, hall by hall. The aliens were bigger and stronger, but the humans were smarter and angrier. Dr. Tsunabe helped carry wounded people to the medical center. She saw Craven soldiers lying on the floor, hurt but still alive. Part of her wanted to help them. She was a doctor. She was supposed to save lives. But then, she remembered the families hiding in the shelters. She remembered the children who were scared and crying. These Craven soldiers would have killed them all. "Leave them," she said to herself. "Some lives are not worth saving." In space, the battle was reaching its end. The human fleet had surrounded The remaining Craven ships. The aliens were trapped. They could not escape. "This is your last chance," said Admiral Nam over the radio. "Surrender now, and we will let you live in prison. Keep fighting, and we will destroy you." War Chief Grakter looked around his bridge. His officers were waiting for his answer. He had two choices. He could surrender and live in shame, or he could fight and die with honor. "We are Craven," he said. "We do not surrender." "Then you will die," said Admiral Nam. The human fleet attacked one more time. Every ship shot at once. Hundreds of missiles and bullets hit the remaining Craven ships. The aliens' shields failed. Their hulls broke open. Their engines exploded. One by one, the Craven ships died. War Chief Grakter watched his flagship fall apart around him. Fire was everywhere. His officers were dead. His dreams of conquest were over. "How?" he asked the empty air. "How did these primitive humans defeat us?" But there was no one left to answer. The flagship exploded in a ball of fire. War Chief Craven, conqueror of 47 worlds, was dead. Of the 42 Craven ships that had come to destroy Kepler Station, only 7 escaped. 7 ships out of 42. The rest were destroyed or floating dead in space. On the bridge of Kepler Station, everyone was quiet. They watched the battle end on their screens. They watched the human fleet win an impossible victory. "It is over," said Ambassador Veltar. "The Craven are defeated." Commander Ji-won Kim nodded. But she looked sad, not happy. "What is wrong?" asked Dr. Hoona Park. "We won. We are alive." "Look at the price," said Ji-won. She pointed to the screen. "Half the human fleet is destroyed. Thousands of my people are dead." It was true. The human fleet had won, but many ships were gone. The Inchin's hammer was drifting in space, its crew dead. The Daegu's vengeance was in pieces. Many other ships were badly damaged. "They died to save us," said Veltar. "They died to save people they had never met." "That is what humans do," said Ji. "We protect the innocent, even if it costs us everything." Over the next few days, the human fleet helped repair Kepler Station. They brought medical supplies for the wounded. They brought food for the hungry. They brought hope for the scared. Dr. Sunabe worked with human doctors to help people who were hurt in the fighting. She saw how the humans treated everyone the same. They helped Veltari and Craven prisoners with equal care. "Why do you help the Craven?" she asked one human doctor. "They tried to kill us." "Because they are hurt," said the doctor. "Because everyone deserves medical care. Because that is what makes us different from them." Captain Hannah Lim had survived when her ship was destroyed. She floated in space for 6 hours before being rescued. But she was not bitter. She was proud. "We showed them," she said. "We showed the galaxy that evil does not always win." 3 weeks later, the Coalition fleet finally arrived. 50 beautiful ships with elegant curves and advanced technology. They came ready to fight the Craven, but the battle was already over. Admiral Tolvan of the Coalition fleet met with Admiral Nam. The alien was tall and thin, with purple skin and 4 arms. He looked embarrassed. "We came as fast as we could," he said, "but we were too late." "You were not too late," said Admiral Nam. "You are here now. That is what matters." "How did you defeat them?" asked Admiral Tolvan. "The Craven have conquered dozens of worlds. They have destroyed entire fleets. We fought differently," said Admiral Nam. "We did not try to be elegant. We did not try to be civilized. We just tried to win." "But your technology is so primitive," said the alien. "Your ships are so crude." "Sometimes crude is better," said Admiral Nam. "Sometimes you need someone who is willing to get dirty." The Coalition was amazed. They had always thought humans were a minor species. They had thought human technology was backward. They had thought human ships were toys. They were wrong. The Galactic Council met 1 month later. They voted to make Earth a full member of the Coalition. They asked the Terran Defense Force to become the Coalition's emergency response fleet. "When evil comes," said the Council leader, "we want the humans to answer the call." And throughout the galaxy, the story spread. The story of how the primitive humans defeated the mighty Craven. The story of how a small fleet saved 50,000 lives. The Craven horde heard the story too. They added Earth to their list of worlds to avoid. They told their children, "Never attack the humans. They are small, but they are dangerous. They will fight until they die, and they will make you die with them." On Kepler Station, life returned to normal. The shields were repaired. The holes were fixed. The families came out of their shelters, but something had changed. The Voltari looked at humans differently now. They saw them as protectors. They saw them as friends. They saw them as the people who came when hope was lost. Commander Ji-won Kim stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Dr. Hoona Park stood beside her. "Do you think they will come back?" asked Hoona the Craven. "Maybe," said Ji-won. "But if they do, we will be ready. And next time, we will not be alone." She was right. The galaxy had learned something important. Sometimes the smallest people can do the biggest things. Sometimes the weakest ships can win the hardest battles. Sometimes help comes from the most unexpected places. The humans had kept their promise. They had answered the call. They had stood against the darkness and said, "No, not today, not ever," and the galaxy was a safer place because of it.